Gerald's Journal. Property of Gerald Robotnik. From Archival and Requisition Department. To Commander Abraham Tower. Commander, your request for tangible evidence of the Ark incident 50 years ago produced very little results. Your predecessor was quite thorough in erasing the cover-up operation. However, Professor Gerald Robotnik's personal diary managed to survive. Ironically, we have Dr. Eggman to thank for finding it all. This journal was recovered during the investigation of Dr. Eggman's stronghold following the latest incident with the Ark. Unfortunately, time and tragedy have not been kind to the journal. What you're holding now is all that remains of the original book. I'm afraid there is no way of recovering the missing pages, nor can I restore the damaged or redacted elements. It's a pity, as I would have very much liked to have greater insight into Gerald and Maria's lives together. Regards, T. Entry number 42. I take great pride in my research and discoveries. Few men are labeled as geniuses in their own time, but nothing compares to my pride in my boys, Redacted and Redacted. They both graduated summa cum laude, and in record time no less. They'll have their doctorates in no time. It seems my passion for archaeology and robotics are split between them, but I guess that's what makes them the chips off the old block. Ho ho. I cannot wait to see what boons they bring to the world. Entry number 162. I can't believe how much time has passed. It feels like yesterday I was celebrating my boys becoming men, and now I'm a grandfather. Her name is Redacted, and she is perfect in every way. She brings a smile to everyone's face, and everyone falls in love with her the moment they lay eyes on her. If nothing else, she is my legacy. Everything I do from this day forward, I do for her. Entry 170. I deciphered the engravings on an ancient ring I found on a previous dig in the Redacted jungle, and calculated the location of a fabled flying paradise. I went alone to verify my findings, and was rewarded with the spectacle of an angelic island. The land was vast, lush, and hosted a number of biomes in close proximity to each other. I believe I could see an entire floating city at one point. Most majestic of all was a shrine devoted to what happened to be a massive Redacted. Could this be the legendary Redacted? I dare not approach or overstay my welcome. As much as I wanted to explore every inch of the island, I felt it was a very sacred land. Just setting foot on its soil felt taboo. I don't know if any civilization remains. The land is vast and my stay was brief, but the majesty of that emerald and shrine will stay with me for the rest of my life. Entry 185. I'm about to embark on the most ambitious project of my life. The Earth's first orbital space colony with the ninth wonder of the world. It will be a place of science, researching all manner of ways to improve our home below. Seeing as it is a vessel meant to preserve life amid the harshness of space, I have christened it the Ark. It shall be a vessel to pass on the value of life and peace to the next generation. And while most of the megastructure will be hidden within the base planetoid, I may have a little self-indulgence in the design. Ho ho! The only concern is the source of the funding. While the United Federation supports us, most of the financing is coming from Redacted. I have no illusions about what they'll want, but I'm building the Ark to preserve life, not end it. While I have my concerns, I am a genius, so I'm sure I'll figure something out when the time comes. Entry 389. Life and work aboard the Ark has been exciting, for good and for ill. As a positive, we required one of the legendary Redacted for our research. They said to hold unlimited power, and preliminary tests suggest some effect on space-time, bending reality to one's will. Imagine all the possibilities. Sadly, Redacted is doing just that, but in all the wrong ways. Their desire for weapons research is becoming increasingly overt and decreasingly pollute. I used my clout to get a direct line to the president to ask for him to intervene. He said he would, but then asked me for something equally obscene. He wants me to discover a means to immortality. I aim to improve life, not pervert it. Everything gives way to entropy. The concept is laughable, as intangible as a shadow. I refused him outright. In retrospect, perhaps I could have been more diplomatic about it. I find myself on edge. Political pressures aside, I'm told Redacted is sick with no clear diagnosis. I wish I could look into it myself, but I'm needed aboard the Ark. Hopefully, this will pass and she'll recover soon. She is too precious to be left to suffer. Entry Redacted. The all-powerful Redacted. Entry Redacted. The Redacted held the power to bind the soul. Entry Redacted. The Redacted destroyed the entire. Entry 402. I have uncovered a most interesting specimen from the warehouse. It was first discovered by my son, Redacted, who became quite the archaeologist. I believe it is some sort of puppet or robot made by an ancient people. At first, I didn't think anything of it, but when I was experimenting on the Redacted, it began to move. This suggests the possibility that even the ancient civilizations could harness the power of the Redacted. When I was researching various papers related to the Redacted and this robot, I discovered there was a possibility that this robot was something incredible. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this robot may be the cause of the destruction of the fourth great civilization. I'm not sure I believe it just yet though. Entry number 407. I am no longer able to ignore the possibility that this robot did in fact destroy the fourth great civilization. I have discovered a stone tablet that explains as much. According to the tablet, when the figure falls from the heavens and the stone of the gods is joined, all that exists will become one again. Though it is difficult to believe, this robot has been watching my movements and mimicking all of that I do. I was amazed by my scans of this being. Surprisingly, reams and reams of data scrolled and caused my most powerful computer to crash. More intriguing was the data was all about melee combat and weapons of that age. Eventually, if this being is ever restored to its former state, it will put all that data to use and recreate the weaponry and combat abilities that it once had. And that's not all. If my guesses are correct, it will also have the ability to absorb modern weaponry as well. What have I done? I have uncovered a horrible weapon. Entry number 428. It has been a trying time to say the least. Redacted was diagnosed with neuroimmunodeficiency syndrome. There is no cure. Yet, I pulled some strings and had her brought aboard the Ark for treatment and assessment. The low gravity environment should keep her symptoms manageable. Her family has been less than enthusiastic with my decision. Despite everything, she remains the most positive person in the room. Most of the staff here left their families back on Earth, so I was worried she'd feel lonely. Instead, she's become the adopted daughter of every researcher on the Ark. Moreover, she's become like a big sister to little blank, the Ark's happy little accident over the past few years. The president keeps prompting me with his request to unlock the mysteries of life. Perhaps with his funding and clout, I can find a means to cure Redacted while casting that shadow. Entry number 515. Redacted has dropped all pretense and is demanding weapons research in exchange for continued funding. I promised the president I'd begin work on Project Shadow, but even he can't get them to back down. It appears I have a gun to my head on that matter. Ho ho. Years ago, I discovered records of an ancient god of destruction called Chaos. It was said to command the fury and force of the ocean, or something to that effect. I've begun developing a basic AI-driven apparatus that can generate cohesions in water and produce controlled shapes for basic actions. I've told the top brass that this can turn any body of water into an autonomous weapon. Deep down, I'm hoping it can be used as easily deployed search and rescue units. Imagine, a flood turned back on itself to aid those in the rubble. Entry number 530. Research into Project Shadow is in full swing. The first step has been learning how to siphon redacted emerald energy and apply it to a living tissue. To that end, I've developed the Chaos Drives. Direct application seems too harsh. Any organism that could directly interface with an emerald would be fearsome indeed. The initial tests were promising, so we're now moving on to the next stage in trials. I will be using salamanders for their regenerative abilities and manageable size. We will begin applying Chaos Drives to the test subject and see how its vitals respond. And to keep Redacted from breathing down my neck, I'm supplying them with Chaos Drives as batteries for their mechanized division. I load powering engines of war, but sacrifices have to be made if I'm to save Redacted. I'll figure something out in the long run. I am a genius after all. Entry number 568. Project Shadow has reached an impasse. The subject exhibits accelerated cellular growth to the point it cannot support its own biological systems. I've developed an external life support system to compensate, but it will need to be upgraded and redesigned as the subject continues to grow. The way it thrashes and roars, it is uncontrollable. Furthermore, it is generating unexplained energetic reactions. Is this an expression of the redacted power? Can a living thing produce such energy? Can it be controlled? There are too many questions, and unfortunately, the answers lie in this biolizard's life. I will keep it alive and as comfortable as I can until I have the answers I need. I found a region in the Ark that should be able to safely house it while we continue our experiments. I'm not sure what I will tell Redacted. I don't want to lie to her, but I think the truth is too cruel. Entry number 589. Redacted is growing into a lovely young woman. It breaks my heart that someone as bright and energetic as her is diminished by disease. There are no visible effects, and I've caught my fellow researchers muttering to each other, doubting her illness. It is infuriating. I find all my reason and restraint vanishes when she's slighted. And yet she remains an unending font of positivity. Even on her worst days, when the fear and the pain take hold, she tells me she endures for the day when she can return home. She has total faith in me, and that Project Shadow will cure her. Her family back on Earth has no such faith. It's been so long. Some of the researchers actually think she was born here. Her family either wants her better or wants her home. I can do neither. Somehow, their scorn is harsher than the government or the military's increasing pressure for more weapons research. I'm a genius. I have to figure this out. Entry number 616. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and I am a desperate man. The Black Comet returned to Earth on its 50-year orbit. Aborted was redacted. Redacted. Somehow, he knew about the redacted and seemed impressed with my work. He offered me a Faustian deal. I accepted. Using his DNA, I was able to overcome every hurdle Project Shadow had put before me. The small, sturdy pipe I developed can perfectly interact with redacted energy. Redacted wanted me to craft a herald for his future invasion. Redacted wants Project Shadow to generate undying soldiers for them. I will play them both for fools. Entry number 620. When I launched Project Shadow initially, I named it with scorn and mockery. I was trying to grab hold of an intangible goal. Later, it sounded appropriately villainous as I was toying with the fundamentals of life itself. But then Redacted looked upon the unfinished specimen and put things into a whole new perspective. A shadow tells you which way to go to find the light. In an instant, she cut through all the pessimism and doubt and filled me with hope. Redacted, as she came to call him, will not be some dark creature, but a champion of light and hope. I would not have seen that if it not for Redacted. She is truly a remarkable person who can do great and wondrous things for this world. I must save her, no matter the cost. Entry number 633. I now understand why this being was called Gizoid. In the ancient tongue, it means everything. According to the stone tablet, if the Gizoid establishes a link with someone, the Gizoid will swear loyalty to that person. Perhaps it still lacks redacted energy, but has been saying the word link to me in broken tones. It went to explain, show me your strength and I shall obey. I am all things, and all shall belong to me. So as it suggested, I brought it before my collection of model guns and fired them all. Then suddenly, it said, I shall follow your every command and never leave your side. And since then, it refuses to listen to anyone but me. While it's still a fearsome weapon of destruction, while it remains under my control, at least it won't be used for evil. However, if someone with evil intentions ever forms a link with the Gizoid, I don't even want to think about what would happen. I must research how one can re-establish a link with the Gizoid. Entry number 640. The upper echelon is going crazy. Perhaps they aim to freeze Project Shadow. Soon the ultimate life form, Redacted, will be completed. The application to my granddaughter is imminent. I cannot just let them stop my study at this point, because I am the only one who can save my granddaughter's life. Entry number 642. The higher-ups are threatening to shut down this research facility. I had no choice but to hand them the Gizoid to buy more time for my research. I tried to be careful and commanded it to never absorb any dangerous technologies. However, I have heard that other researchers have been making the Gizoid absorb weapons. Apparently, the way to cause the Gizoid to form a new link is to show it power that surpasses that of its former master. While this poses immense danger, I cannot risk losing Redacted. Entry 650. The top brass still aren't satisfied. The Gizoid isn't big enough or flashy enough for them. Fine. I've developed a weapon I'm calling the Redacted. It taps directly into the Arc Central Reactor to produce an unethical degree of firepower. They'll love it. However, to use it on any target on Earth would destroy the world. They'll never be able to fire it. Checkmate. It will, however, be the perfect tool to deal with the Redacted when they return. Eclipse means shadow. This is Redacted's cannon. My gift to him in a battle he never asked for. I am so sorry. Entry number 651. Redacted doesn't know the full scope of what Redacted has been designed for, but she understands he will be under tremendous strain. She's helped me conceptualize a number of accessories that will help focus his power and aid in his mobility. I'm also researching chaos control to see if I can gain an understanding of it before Redacted awakens. And I don't want him to have to try to learn its intricacies on his own. Deep down, I know this progress is superficial, tangible at best. The larger issues remain. Redacted. The president. The redacted. My family. I've gleaned there's a gift growing between my sons. My love for them shouldn't be a divisive issue. I'm running out of time. Entry number 670. It's been a whirlwind of events as of late. Project Shadow is complete, and Redacted has awakened. I pre-programmed a great deal of data into his mind, but his ability to parse it out and apply it to his situation is remarkable. All of his vitals are strong, and there seems to be no signs of instability or mutation. He stands in stark contrast to the monster we have sealed below decks. But all success of the physical and mental prowess comes second to his relationship with Redacted. I'd hoped they'd get along, but it's far better than that. She is his guide to the world, and he is her stalwart companion. Never have I seen such instant mutual friendship and trust between two beings. I am truly moved. They remind me of why I've been working so hard. They bring me hope. Back on Earth, my son and Redacted parents have been blessed with another little girl. They've already run tests and she has none of the genetic marks linked to Blank's condition. While this was welcome news, the unspoken commentary was loud and clear. I must save Redacted. I must get my family back. Redacted, you are the key to it all. Entry number 670, number 706. Question mark? My worst fears have come true. The Gizoid has absorbed enough weaponry and technology that it has started to go out of control. The resulting rampage led to the destruction of most of the Ark. I have deciphered the rest of the stone tablet. It says, when the Gizoid had learned all that it could, it became a god of wrath, and all was destroyed. The researchers somehow managed to subdue the Gizoid and seal it away. Luckily, it only had one Gizoid installed. If it were to have all 7 Redacted installed, it might destroy the whole planet. The Gizoid is too much of a liability. I tried destroying its core, but nothing I did worked. I understand too little of the technology that built him. My best hope is to try and reprogram its AI into a free-willed, emotions-based AI. Entry number... I've lost track of the days. Not very scientific of me. I'm strained. Something has to give. The Gizoid's rampage caused the artificial chaos to behave erratically. I attempted to regain network control by inverting the polarity of the text smears ineligible, so instead they become violent. Redacted raced across the Ark, pacifying them quite expertly, but the damage is done. An SOS was sent to Redacted automatically. I dread the litigious reprimanding I'll have to endure next. A heritage of the past I dug up. Gizoid, and the ultimate life form I created with my own hand. Redacted. I equip both weapons with a heart. If all powers are not what is to be obtained for oneself, but what is to be born from hearts that yearn for someone, I believe all conflicts should cease to exist. Please, if there's anyone listening to my prayers, bring hope to humanity. I don't quite know what happened, or what went wrong. Was it a mistake to create the ultimate life form? I thought it would be something that would benefit mankind. But then the military guards landed on the colony that day. They were sent to destroy the research project that I had been working on. My colleagues at the research facility, my granddaughter, Redacted. I hope you are all safe. The colony was completely shut down, probably to keep the prototype from falling into the wrong hands. The Ark was shut down under the premise that there had been an accident. I found Redacted's name among those who died when the Ark was shut down. She meant everything to me, and I couldn't bear the thought that she died because of my research. I lost everything. I had nothing more to live for. I went insane. All I could think about was to avenge her. Somehow, some way. I got scared, as I was no longer able to control my thoughts. All I could think about was that I wanted it all to end. Based on my original projections, I was able to complete my project. Redacted. I designed its mind to be perfect, pure. I will leave everything to him. If you wish, release and awaken it to the world. If you wish to fill the world with destruction.